What is life without God's help? Life without God's help can feel very different depending on a person's belief. But here are some ways it is often described. A person without God's help is directionless. Without a higher guide, many feel they wander without clear purpose or meaning. What directionless often feels like? 1. Empty goals. You go through tasks, but they don't add up to anything that feels meaningful. 2. Restless seeking. You try different hobbies, jobs, or relationships, but keep feeling unsatisfied. 3. Decision paralysis. Small and big choices feel heavy because there's no clear North Star. Loss of story. You can't describe where you're headed in life. No personal narrative or mission that ties things together. Illusion of confidence. Without a steady guide, doubt grows and courage to take risks fades. Short-term fixes. You lean on temporary comforts, business, distractions, substances that don't provide lasting directions. And why it matters? When people feel directionless, they're more likely to drift into patterns that leave them exhausted, anxious, or numb. Purpose acts like a compass. It focuses energy, sustains motivations during hard seasons, and helps you make consistent choices that build a meaningful life. Practical steps to regain direction. A faith-friendly and practical. First, slow down and reflect. Spend 10 to 20 minutes daily asking what mattered most to me this week and what drained me. Values, not only goals. List 3 values like kindness, truth, creativity. Let them evaluate your choices. The small aims, big horizon. Pick one tiny meaningful habit. Read a page. Volunteer once a month. Pray or meditate 5 minutes. Tiny compounds. Seek a mentor or community. A trusted person, spiritual leader, friend, counselor can point towards strengths you miss. Try purpose experiments. Treat directions like experiments, volunteer, take a short course, lead a small projects, see what clicks. Anchor with ritual, prayer, meditations, journaling, or Sabbath rest helps connect you to a sense of guidance beyond daily noise. What is life without God's help? We feel heavier burdens. Challenges, grief, and struggle can feel harder to carry alone, with no sense of divine strength to lean on. What it means. Without God's help or a higher source of strength, life struggles can feel crushing, endless, lonely, exhausting, hopeless. Crushing? Why? Because problem seems too big to carry. Endless sufferings feels like it has no redemptive purpose. Lonely, no sense that someone stronger is walking beside you. Exhausting, you rely on your own strength, which eventually runs out. Hopeless when your setback pile up. It's hard to believe things can improve. Why burdens weigh heavier? No outlet to release fears like prayer or surrender. No assurance that trials can shape you for good. No eternal hope beyond present pain. No sense of shared load Everything depends on you. With God's help, the burden shifts. Shared weight. Cast your cares upon Him, for He cares for you. Inner strength. Trials become lighter when you feel upheld by grace. Purpose and pain. Hard seasons can refine character instead of breaking spirit. Peace. Even when problems don't vanish, the heart rests in trust. Here are some practical ways to lighten burdens. Spiritual plus practical. Daily surrender. Write down your worries and say, God, I give this to you. Lean on community. Allow friends, mentors, or faith groups to carry burdens with you. Break it down. Tackle one piece at a time. Burdens feel heavier when they stay vague. Anchor in hope recalls past times you thought you could not cope but made it through. Rest. Physically and spiritually, rest recharge your capacity to carry what remains. Reflection question. What's the burden you're carrying now that feels too heavy to hold on your own? What is life without God's help? The isolation. The comfort of prayer, faith, or trust in something greater is missing. Leaving people to rely on themselves or others. What isolation without God's help feels like? Spirituality alone, no sense of someone who understands you completely. Cut off from comfort. In dark times, prayer and trust are absent, so inner peace is harder to find. Over-reliance on people. Support is limited to human strength, which can fail, disappoint, or walk away. Silent struggles. Without faith practices, pain often stays bottled up, with no safe place to release it. Essential loneliness. Even when surrounded by others, there's an emptiness like something vital is missing. And why it matters. Humans are wired for connection, not only with people, but also with meaning, transcendence, and the divine. When that vertical relationship is gone, the horizontal ones with others often feel fragile or insufficient. But with God's help, God's presence, isolation is softened. Prayer as companionship. You are never fully alone. Even silent tears are heard. Faith as an anchor. Trust in something greater helps you face life without despair. Unconditional love. Unlike human approval, divine love does not waver. Deeper belonging. You feel part of the bigger story and purpose. Here are some practical steps to ease isolation. Start small, one openness. Even one whispered prayer or journal entry can open a door. A community of faith. Join a group where people share both struggles and encouragement. Tease gratitude. Listing blessings daily can reconnect you to a sense of presence beyond yourself. Reach outward. Serving others builds bonds and shifts focus away from inner loneliness. Sacred pauses. Quiet reflection, meditations, or scripture can invite a sense of nearness. Here's a reflection thought. True isolation isn't the absence of people, but the absence of connection, especially with the one who made you. What is life without God's help? We have a shaky hope. When life's uncertainties strikes, hope cannot weaken it. It isn't anchored in something beyond human limits. What shaky hope feels like? Easily broken. Optimism fades quickly when bad news comes. Circumstance-based. Hope rises when things go well, but crashes when life turns hard. Fear-driven choices. Without steady assurance, decisions lean more on avoiding pain than pursuing purpose. Short-term focus. People cling to quick fixes instead of lasting solutions. The emotional roller coaster, mood swing with its success or failure, because hope has no deep root. Why hope weakens without God? Know how you promise. The future depends on human effort and luck. Limited vision, hard seasons, seems final, not temporary. Uncertain meaning. If life's struggles serve no greater purpose, hope struggles to endure. Fragile anchors, money, health, relationships, or achievements can be lost, leaving nothing solid to hold on to. With God's help, hope becomes steady. They anchored assurance. Hope rests not on chance, but on God's unchanging nature. The light in darkness. Even in trials, there is confidence that better days or eternal peace await. The strength to endure. Hope fuels perseverance when circumstances don't improve quickly. Perspective shift. Suffering becomes a part of refining process, not just meaningless pain. Here are practical ways to strengthen hope. Anchor in promises. Recall or read scriptures that remind you of God's faithfulness. Remember past rescues. Write down times you made it through situations you thought were impossible. Daily hope rituals. Start or end the day with one line of gratitude and one statement of trust. Surround yourself with hopeful voices. Spend time with people who encourage instead of drain. Visualize God's speaker story. Remind yourself your present moment is not the whole picture. Reflections. Hope without an anchor drifts. Hope with God stands firm, even in stormy seas. What is life without God's help? A self-reliance only. It becomes a constant effort of depending on personal strength and wisdom, which can lead to exhaustion and discouragement. What self-reliance only feels like? Exhaustion. You're always on, carrying every decision, every failure, every weight alone. Pressure to perform. Success depends only on your skill and effort, leaving no room for grace. Fear of failure. One mistake feels like the end because there is no greater hand to catch you. Discouragement. When strength runs out, there is nowhere deeper to draw from. Isolation or pride. Relying on yourself can make it hard to trust or ask for help from others. Why this wears people down? Human strength is limited, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Wisdom can't foresee every outcome, so uncertainty creates anxiety. Achievement may still feel hollow if they're disconnected from deeper purpose. The constant need to prove oneself breeds restlessness and burnt out. With God's help, reliance shifts partnership. Life becomes a shared journey, co-laboring rather than striving alone. The guidance, prayer and faith offer wisdom beyond human reasoning. The relief, you can rest, knowing outcomes don't all depend on your ability. Encouragement, even failure can be redeemed and used for growth. Strength renewed. Divine strength supplies what human limits can't. Here are some practical ways to move beyond self-reliance. Practice surrender. Start the day by saying, I don't have to carry this all on my own. Second, invite guidance. Before big decisions, pause for prayer, scriptures, or reflection. Third, accept help from others. Let trusted people share the weight. It doesn't diminish your worth. Next, build rhythms of rest. Show trust and resting rather than working endlessly. Shift identity. Base your value on being loved by God, not only on what you achieve. Action. Self-reliance drains. God-reliance sustains. At the same time, some people say that without God's help, life becomes more about searching for meaning and human relationships, personal growth, or service to others. But often, the longing for something beyond remains. Life without God's help often feels like walking in circles with no clear path. Burdens grow heavier and carried alone. Isolation deepens without the comfort of His presence. And hope becomes fragile when anchored only in human limits. Relying wholly on your own strength eventually leads to exhaustion and discouragement. But with God's help, direction is restored, burdens are lifted, loneliness is eased, hope is secured, and strength is renewed. Life without God's help often feels like wandering without purpose. The burdens we carry grow heavier when we bear them alone, and the silence of isolation can press hard on the soul. Hope wavers when it rests only on human limits, and self-reliance soon leads to weariness. But with God's help, direction becomes clear, burdens are shared, isolation turns into companionship, hope stands firm, and strength is renewed daily.